Now, welcome back to WordThinkers, where we learn how to think biblically. Now, if you like this kind of content, do subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss a video. Now, in today's video, I'll be sharing in our fourth part series. Now, this is part 3 of our series. Then I'll be sharing how Eve was tempted by Satan and how she did not overcome the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Now, there's a pattern and repetition that these things also shows up at our doorstep, and this is the 3 ways that sin enters into our lives. And remember, James says that it is not God who tempts us, but it is our own desires that entice us, that draws us away, or that moves us away from God's plan, God's will, and God's purpose. And this sin lures us into the desires that we want to pursue. It is also what the spiritual leaders they preach, that we need to pursue these things and we need to covet and things. But the Bible says in 1 John 2 verse 16, the Bible says that the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, it is not of the Father, but it is of the world. Now let us just look at the pattern of how Eve was tempted with the same strategy and how she failed to overcome the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Now we are reading in Genesis 3 verse 6. The Bible says that, so when the woman saw that the tree was good for food. Now, when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that is the lust of the flesh, she saw that it can bring a satisfaction to the body. Now, God says, you shall not eat of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. That is what God commanded her not to do. But since she wanted to satisfy and indulge in the lust of the flesh, the Bible says that she saw that it was good for food. It would satisfy her body. It would make her body feel good. Now, that is what sin does. Sin, when you look at sin, sin makes you feel good for a temporary moment. And we need to know how to overcome this type of feeling and desires of temptation. The Bible says that it looked good for food. It looked good. Going on to number 2, the Bible says that it was pleasant to the eye. You see, it looked beautiful. She was coveting. She was having eyes of adultery. She looked at the fruit and it was good. It was pleasant to the eye. It looked so nice. Now, child of God, this is what sin does. Sin makes everything to feel good, to look good, and to make you feel above and invincible above God. Now, the Bible says that we need to, and the 3 desirable to make one wise, that is the pride of life. So first of all, she looked at the tree, she saw the tree and it was good for food. That is the lust of the flesh. And that it was pleasant to the eyes, the lust of the eyes. And the 3 desirable to make one wise. That is the pride of life. To attain this high power, to have this high power. Child of God, these 3 sins will show up at your doorstep and you need to be ready how to overcome them. So the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, this is the 3 ways that sin comes. And sometimes we fall by all 3. We fall by 1, we fall by 2, and Eve fall all 3. All 3 of these sins was being sold to Eve, and Eve bought into all of them. So this is what we see, the fall of man. It was even in the garden. We can see that that Satan used the same strategy that he uses to you and me. And of these 3 temptations showing up in the fall of men, and how Satan sold it to Eve, and Eve bought into the lie where she saw that it was good for the body. It gave her satisfactory. She indulged in pursuing the pleasure of the body, and she also pursued in coveting where her eyes when her eyes the lust of the eyes, indulge in adultery. And then we also see that she wanted to feel some type of way about herself, because the Bible says that it would make one wise. So she wanted to be like God. That was the lie that Satan sold to Eve, and Eve bought into this lie. And child of God, I can tell you today that this is the same lie that Satan is still selling to some of us, and we are buying it. And this is also the lies that comes from certain pulpits that says that we need to desire and pursue our pleasures, and we need to live our best life now, and we need to pursue the big house and the big car and the money and this type of things. And we are being sold these three temptations, and we are buying them. Now the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13, the Bible says that no temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to men. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation you will make the way of escape, that you may be able to bear it. Now, first of all, let's establish the foundation. God is not the one that will tempt you. No. But God is the one that will provide. He is faithful to provide the way of escape. He is faithful to give you the way out, and is faithful to not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. Now, when we sometimes fall into this sinful, once the desire has become a sin, we normally say that, yeah, but God said that you will not tempt us beyond what we can bear. But the thing is, child of God, we did not take the escape. We did not take the escape. We didn't look at what is the escape, what is the way out. Instead, we indulge in this type of behavior where the desire has become a sin. So it has developed from a desire to a sin, and then later death. So this is how it transpires, child of God. But the Bible says that God will provide an escape for you and me to be able to escape, to be able to take the way out, and not to fall into the temptation, and not to fall into sin. Now, coming up in the fourth video, I'll be sharing how Jesus and the model of how Jesus used, what the model Jesus used to escape sin, or rather to overcome it. And this is the formula that me and you should be using as a child of God, and how to overcome sin. May God bless you.